Have you ever wondered how fire was produced before the invention of a matchbox? Believe it or not, the only practical way was to borrow some fire from an already existing source. In the bigger scheme of things, electricity is a recent invention. Before that, fire was the only source of light and heat for humans. Thanks to the invention of the safety matches, people in the 19th century could suddenly carry a source of fire in their pockets. With the strike of a stick, they had fire at their disposal. This was nothing short of revolutionary. In Greek, phil is love, and in Latin, lumen means light. So philumeny is the love for light, or matchboxes. And I am called a philuminist. When I tell someone that I collect matchboxes, the first reaction is, "You collect matchboxes and call yourself by a fancy name?" I can buy some and be a philuminist too. But there's much more to the story than that. When I was about 7 years old, my father traveled a lot as a pharmaceutical distributor. He brought home souvenir matchboxes from hotels that he stayed in. They were beautiful and came in different sizes, colors, and shapes. So as a kid, I was really attracted to them. I had started collecting them even before I knew it, and consequently, I started exchanging and meeting other collectors. It's been quite a journey ever since. Learning details from different cultures and schools of thought that I never expected to. As a collector, I also study the history of matchboxes. So after they made these little wooden sticks and stuck a mixture of sulfur and glass powder on each tip, it was necessary to enclose them in such a way that there's a flat surface to strike the stick to ignite. So the packaging as a box was naturally important. Initially, they typed or printed the name and address of the manufacturer on the box. But with time, it became a medium for local and important pictures, design, and art on the box itself. So, a newspaper advertisement, for instance, is seen once by a customer, but a matchbox cover is seen as many times as the number of sticks in it. It was an effective advertising tool because households needed fire every single day. Throughout the world, important events in history, such as the World Wars, the Olympics, World Cups, the Russian space missions, and even the Nazi propaganda was carried out using matchboxes as the medium. At its peak, over 5,000 different brands of matchboxes were in circulation, and trillions of matches were being sold every year. In many parts of the world, up to 90% of the urban populations could be reached just by advertising on a matchbox. So daily use products such as toothpaste, shampoos that are advertised on TV today, including cars, that they were advertised on matchbox covers. When exports became common, local culture, history, monuments, even cinema and music albums were promoted on them. One could know about a country in its entirety just by studying its matchbox history. Matchboxes witnessed the evolution of our societies in the last 2 centuries. Learning about these things while collecting them is fascinating for me. So my curiosity leads me to different places, and including Jönköping in Sweden, where the matchbox was popularized. I went to the Match Museum there, which is one of 3 in the world. Such experiences give me lessons in history, evolution, language, design and art, even marketing and piracy, to say the least. No wonder collecting these is such a pleasure to many people, including me. There are other collectors, some of which donated their entire collections to me because they didn't want to collect anymore, from across the world. This led to a great variety, including different materials of the box, depending on where they came from, including wood and bamboo, let's say, from China, and metals, including silver from Central Europe. And the latest materials that are common that are plastic and cardboard that you generally see. So my collection has over 100,000 different matchboxes from 112 countries today. It's really not about owning one big collection, as much as the experience itself. Exchanges involve trust issues. In one exchange with a collector from Puebla de Zaragoza in Mexico, my package reached about a week late, and I was declared a fraud on a Facebook group. So other collectors on the group instantly supported me, but he apologized only after it was delivered to him. But with time, I realized that most of these people are, they're nice, they're honest. So I made friends in different parts of India initially, and now across the world. When I say friends, I mean it. We even exchange a box of sweets, a souvenir, or even a book. So I'm fortunate to be reading literature and poetry from different regions of the globe. My perceptions are changing, and I'm becoming less judgmental, looking at things without a tinted glass of bias. About 3 years ago, I went to Budapest to meet Gellert, who is a dentist in his 50s. We had exchanged many times before, and our conversations, as well as his invitation, made me visit him. He and his son were personal city guides to me for a few days, taking me to places which I wouldn't know as a tourist, explaining things in broken English. Gellert's mother was over 80, and she spoke only Hungarian, so we conversed only in gestures. She was the authority in the kitchen and had mastered her cooking skills through the years. She gave me informal cooking lessons, some delicious Hungarian recipes that I still use. Oh, another collector that I visited was Codruta, a Romanian folk dancer from Timisoara. Her institute teaches aksak, which is dancing in uneven rhythms. Not only did I learn about music and dance in the region, but I also got some private dance lessons from her. I have lived in Europe for about 7 years now, during which I frequently traveled, met, and stayed at other collectors' homes, experiencing their lives for a day or two, eating supper with their families like they were mine. I got life lessons from these interactions and the stories they tell. Everyone has a story to tell. From their stories, I'm understanding mine. Some were young, passionate, full of zeal, while some were old, experienced, and had lots to narrate. Connecting with these people from different places, cultural backgrounds, and all kinds of professions on a personal level broadens my perspective in so many ways. While in one place, I identify a personal drawback, I find a method to work on it through another person's life elsewhere. More importantly, I've understood that human nature is the same everywhere, although we differ culturally or linguistically. Experientially, it takes me back to my own roots. In Sanskrit, we say Vasudha eva Kutumbakam. That loosely translates to the whole world is one family. Today, the first word that I look up the translator is Matchbox before I traveled to a country with a new language. I've just started this journey and have a long way to go. It's been a really humbling experience, if not liberating. The irony is that through a hobby of collecting, I have realized that owning only the things we need keeps us the happiest. It's best to let go of all unnecessary physical and mental baggage. It all boils down to how we utilize our three limited resources: energy, time, and attention. Focused passion about a specific thing, no matter how small, leads us to marvelous experiences. It connects us to people far and wide. It opens up the world in its purest form for us to experience life in its raw state. Discovering such a means to understand the nature of things, of people, and their minds in order to navigate through life with the least amount of friction can be through something that's generally perceived as insignificant, like a matchbox. Thank you.